Welcome everyone to this isn't an episode of the Indian Doctor podcast. I'm Indy for reference. He is Doctor, aka Gurren. People call him Doctor. Look at it. Look at the sponsorship, right? They call him Doctor, but he wants to be called Gurren. He gets a little bit upset about this.
I do not get upset.
Yeah, you do. He do.
I think I'm
People
quite
come
used
up
to
to you
that.
and say, "Are you Doctor?
Are you the doctor?
Are you the Doctor?"
I'm not
Gotcha.
the only doctor.
You're the
I'm a doctor.
You're the only doctor in the world.
I'm the Indian doctor.
We're sort of here to just touch on a number of different topics, our dating experiences and how we've dealt with dating and just sort of navigating that
Navigating
field
life,
of meeting
yeah.
someone overall.
Yeah.
We've been submitted a bunch of questions that you guys have put forward to us and we're going to answer them in depth. So Gurren,
Anji.
I'm here
You're
to
here.
ask you these questions. I've prepped answers. I know you have as well. But
Yep.
just to give us a refresher,
Go on.
let's kick it off. What were you looking for in a potential partner, Gurren, when you met your lovely Voti Shindi?
So I'm going to be really honest. We both met our partners at quite young ages. And
Yeah,
I think
we
at
didn't
that,
meet him through the dating app world.
we
It's quite
didn't.
different.
I think dating apps did exist at that time though. But the perception, I talked about this with a friend yesterday, perception of a dating app at that young age, I was 18, 19 when I met Shindy. It was like, if I can't find anyone through the traditional routes, going to uni,
Yeah.
meeting someone in the workplace, then only then last resort would be a dating app.
Yeah.
The game's obviously all changed now, and that's not perceived in that way. It's not seen as like a negative thing.
Hmm.
But to start answering your question, I don't think I was actually looking for anything per se. It was more.
Oh, I wanted an informal flex.
No, it wasn't that. It was very much like, we've been raised in a household where it's like whoever you meet, it's not like
Whoever you meet,
boy-
you must marry.
yeah, it's not boyfriend girlfriend. It's right? Right.
It's like,
It's
yeah,
literally
it's done, finished.
if it's not going there,
Signed,
then
sealed, delivered.
yeah, and that's just look, we're old school in that sense.
Yeah.
But and I know this is for you as well. Shindy was, my first girlfriend as
Yeah.
well as my wife. So
Yeah.
it was more. I want anybody. I want a girlfriend. It's like,
Gurren's
I wasn't looking.
one shot, one kill, done.
I was like, please just go out with me. It was more like that kind of level of.
yeah, sell yourself, mate. Please.
Hanji, please, my doctor.
One day. I will be doctor.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, promise. Investment.
Investment.
ROI is very good here.
But what were you looking for?
No, but see, so to answer that question, I say it in retrospect now, and the
Yeah.
advice I give to my younger friends now is, look, you want someone where whether you want to go deep in a conversation, you want to talk about what is the purpose of life, what happens after life, you can have that conversation.
It's a first date conversation.
No, not first date. You said what you're looking for.
Okay,
in a date,
what you're looking for
in a
overall.
person, right? So there's that level. Then there's a level of let's just have bants. Let's talk about in-betweeners. Let's talk about funny shit.
Yes.
So there's that level. Then there's a level where you're sitting on the couch, you're watching TV, and you don't have to speak, but you're still comfortable, and there's no awkward silence level. So the one big thing I say to all my friends is, look, whoever you're going to spend the rest of your life with, it's a long thing, right? You've got to have levels, and you've got to be able to go up and down in those levels kind of at will, and it can't be awkward. So that's definitely one of the main things I was looking for. Is there somebody who has levels? Number two, do they share my kind of big picture, general vision on life?
Yeah.
Do we want the same things from life?
Yeah.
What is your definition of success, happiness, contentment? What's that end game for you? It doesn't have to be exactly the same, and that definition does evolve for everybody. But broad strokes, if you're somebody who wants to have, so this is personally me speaking, if you're somebody who wants to have a new handbag every week, that's not the right person for me, man. But if you're someone who wants to explore the world and explore culture and just get lost in the world, that's my type of person. Now, Shindy is all of these things.
Yes.
And I don't think
Thank you for caveating that. How many
Yeah.
minutes in, guys? Thank you for caveating that now. Yeah.
I think going into it, I didn't go with that agenda, but it was more, and this is definitely advice I give to people is, look, uni is so great because you get this whole testing phase.
Yeah.
Like me and Shindy knew each other, we've been together 12 years now, married for 6. 6 years of kind of testing, like, I know exactly what I hate about you and the things I don't like about you. This is Shindy looking at me.
Yes.
Right? Not
That's
the
what
other
she
way
says to you, and you said, I don't like this. She said, no, I hate this about you.
around. Hate's a
Yeah.
strong word, man. We don't use the word hate. These are things I dislike, right? But that's really important because that honeymoon phase is going to go at some point. You need to see each other in all lights and see the bits. And somebody gave me this really good definition once about love, and it's about, it's about tolerance. And tolerance can be seen as a really negative word, but actually, there's no one else that you tolerate to that level, like and put up with weird
Yeah, it's
OCD
true,
things.
I sit and think about Sanj, and I think, ooh, you put up with a lot of my stupidness all the time.
Yeah, and I know because I put up a lot with your stupidness, right? And
Thanks, man.
and she's at a whole different level.
She's in it
And I'm like-
24/7.
and
You're
I'm
in it for like
yo.
a couple hours a week.
Yeah,
Big
like,
difference.
So yeah, what about you? What were you
Okay,
looking for?
right. For me, I wanted someone to understand me for me. So I've got a very unique situation in my family
Bro,
where
you are so complicated. Nobody can ever understand you, man.
I'm the youngest of 3.
Sans seva kar diya.
And
Chal,
I've
go,
got a
go.
big age gap between me and my middle sibling,
Yeah.
my brother.
Yeah.
9-year age gap. So I'm the baby of the family, but I didn't have anyone my kind of age to sort of be around. So I needed someone to understand that for me. Also being the kid of a first generation immigrant coming over here, a settler. So I needed them to kind of understand who I am and where I've come from, my upbringing, being from West Brom, rough part of the UK, very poor area, and understanding how we sort of grew as a family and developed and how we just stuck together really. Now in my wife's San, she had virtually a mirror experience of me with where she lived, being the youngest of 3. Same kind of scenario. And I thought, wow, we both understand each other very well. And our dads are literally 2 peas in a pod just by chance. So when I'm telling her stuff about my dad, she's telling me stuff about hers. And I think
the relatability
oh my God,
is so high.
This is so relatable. Like you get me on so many levels. Now, another thing is obviously people were thinking on the first date, is there a connection? Is there a spark? And I think don't put too much pressure on it. Me and Sanj became friends for years. And then it eventually evolved into something else. But as we were friends, there was like a bit of a, I enjoy talking to this person.
Spark.
I could talk to you forever. That is, in my terms, a spark. That's what worked for me. So that whole connection and spark is really big. The phrase she uses is, how do you know you're into someone? She said, when you're around them and you're fully clothed, do you want to put on more clothes around them because you're uncomfortable? Like you don't want them to touch you or anything. And I think that's an extreme example, but I've heard a few people say similar things. So I think she's actually correct in that.
Fair play.
Yeah, she had a very good point. Now, I started digging around a couple of days ago, and I've got some stats here, right?
Go on then, Mr.
The UK census data, I do a geography degree. I know this. This is what I do.
Colouring maps
You teased me
again.
for years saying I coloured in maps. This is what I learned. Okay. Right. Sikhs only make up 0.9% of the population in the UK. That's only 524,000 people. Right. So let's say of that, about 10 or 20% are looking for a partner. That's not many people if you think about it. 20%, that's now 100K of people. And you've got to find a person who's within an age bracket and criteria. That's only just basic demographic data. That's not, are they into the same things as me? Can we click? Are we compatible? Where do you live? All these things. So the best way to find it is probably to jump on this app and meet people, because you can put in your criteria. You can say to people, where are they from? You can communicate with people. It's very clear. About the app itself, for research purposes, we actually joined up on the app.
Research purposes, yeah.
We didn't actually sign up to catfish anybody officially, but going through the apps and step-by-step instructions is very, very easy.
Smooth.
There's nothing difficult about it. You can even add future characteristics about yourself. So there's stuff on there saying, are you a jar lover? Are you quirky? Like all of these things that just allow you to say, you know what? I am some of those things. I do like a good cup of tea.
Owning it. Yeah.
Let's go be a tea connoisseur somewhere, right? All these things that can really bring out the desiness inside of you is very, very easy on this app. Navigating the app, installing it, going through the process, it's very smooth and very easy. It's other dating apps that just aren't simply cutting it.
Advice to younger self is just increase the number of conversations you're having.
Yes.
So we say the word networking, right? And we think it's a very business term, but actually from a social perspective, having conversations from a health point of view is really, really important, man. I got just a TED talk about the 10 things that predict the longer life and happier life. Number one thing was the number of conversations you have in your day. Not quitting smoking, not blood pressure control, not diabetes, not all these things were important. Have the number of conversations in a day. And I was like, okay, if I had it again, and let's say I hadn't met Shindy so early into, studying medicine or whatever, then I would have just kept speaking to people, man, because you never know where it's going to go. Yeah. At the minimum, you're going to make a friend.
I agree.
But I liked what you said there about the natural evolution. The friend going into a relationship is a very beautiful thing. Yeah. It's frustrating, right? So I had that for 9 months, man. I was like, yo, like, come on, man. Like, friends are like, she likes you. But her behavior is not consistent with what she's saying. And then she played these like Hindi songs, right? We were chilling in a room. And she loves singing, right? So she knows all the words and stuff, but she doesn't know what they mean. I know what they mean. So I'm there thinking, I'm so in here. I know.
I'm getting all the lines.
Right? I'm getting all the signals.
All the signals, everything. My dil is crying.
Tujhko pyar ho gaya, dil to pagal hai.
Dil nahi lagta is playing in the background.
Right? So I'm like, I'm so in. But then I go the next day and there's this one song, it still grinds me down. And it's like, Tu mera dost hai. And I'm like, what is this like Rakhdi bloody, level?
This is friend zone to another level.
Yeah, and I'm just like, I'm too deep here.
You're reading way too much into it.
Yeah.
You're doing what I do.
Right?
I do that.
No, but and then you go home, you Google like how to make best friend into somebody who likes you. And you get all these like strategies and tactics and stuff, and it's just
it's dark, man.
You look back at it, it's all funny now.
It is.
But at the time, this is like UN level, problem. I have to forget climate control. And there's like, "Mainu rishta chahiye, like, mainu biyah karna." Like, you know what I mean? It's just so. It just takes over your whole life.
Oh man.
But yes, speak to more people. Have real conversations with people. Right? Connect with people. Understand the art of active listening. listening to understand somebody, not to speak, to just really, really understand what is somebody's vibe about. Do you have a similar value set? I know values is something we're going to talk about later.
Yeah.
Because all this other, stuff that parents used to do and, like caste and all these other things, they are what I call surrogate markers. Like, for example, when a family looks at, Emunda doctor, it's not that they're saying, oh, he's great because he's a doctor. It's more because he's got a doctor, then our surrogate markers from that are going to be he's a hard worker, he's loyal, he's this, and this. That's what they're trying to actually extract. But they can't ask that. They can't be like on a, tu loyal hai, tu like. So they get that from this and this and what did your parents do, where did they study, and which pind are you from. They're trying to, those are all surrogate markers. The real thing they're trying to look for is what are their values? Are the values compatible?
Yes.
Both on a you and the person level, but also on a family level.
I mean, we've touched on this a little bit because we've been through funny dating stories in the past. We had like a Valentine special on our podcast.
What's your nickname?
105?
105.
Yeah, 105. So if you want more in-depth funny conversations of how me and Karan dramatically failed at dating, I mean epic cock-ups. Episode 105 of the podcast. Check it out on Indy Dr.
Yours is a lot.
Yeah, mine was worse. Way worse.
You were called
I was called the milkman.
Right. If you want to know why he's called the milkman.
Yeah, I'm stroking the chair in pain now because I'm getting PTSD right now. But let's move the conversation on.
Just before we move on, though, just watch that episode. Watch why he's welcome. Watch what he did when he went to Gurdwara to special Ardas.
Yes, I did.
Gyani
Yes, I did.
After Rada Sahib, na?
Yes.
Yeah. What did you ask for?
मैं कुछ नहीं कीता. Next question.
Go.
Were you worried about nerves or your partner meeting your family and making a good impression? What was it like?
First time Shindy met my family. And it's always, it generally tends to be like this. It's like you introduce your partner to people in this, like a different order. So she knew my sibling first. So she knew Meher first.
Yeah.
That was cool. They were at uni, same time, fine.
Oh, so they already were acquainted at uni?
Yeah, they knew.
Oh, that's nice.
So that was good. And then it's like...
That's very unique, Garam, by the way. You both went to the same uni, you and your sister, a few years apart.
That's true.
That's rare, man.
That is rare. So there was that. And then... So I'm always closer. I think we're the same in this sense. Closer with our mums than with our dads when it comes to talking about relationships, right? So mum kind of already knew anyway. So mum was...
Why? Because she was noticing you were on the conversation.
No, I just tell her. I'm like,
you told her?
Yeah, I was like, mum.
I thought that you said earlier you have to tell them if this is happening or not.
Key.
Like this is the
no. That's more like for dad, definitely.
Oh,
I'm talking about for your
mum. Yeah. You'll tell her like, oh, I'm seeing someone here. I think I really like her.
Bro, but that's my point. We're not even seeing. It's like we have no official label. Like the boyfriend, girlfriend, and at the time you do, it's like maybe I got like. Do you know what I mean? There's no grey. It's just like you're nothing, and then you're getting married, right?
It's 100% 90. That's what it is.
Yeah. So to mum is like, mum, I'm like, whatever, and mum's like, okay, cool.
Yeah.
But that's basically it.
Finish your studies, please.
Yeah, like make sure you become a doctor. But you're also that's fine.
Yes.
This is how dad and Shindy met, Bhangra competition, right? And I was like, okay, I need to put them in like some sort of neutral venue where they're just going to have to sit next to each other. I don't think I told dad. Shindy obviously knew. So they came to watch us, Bhangra Wars 2013. Yeah. And I just put dad and Shindy next to each other and that's how they met. And it was fine.
But did dad know that he was meeting her that day?
No.
But so dad was talking to this goodie and he said, why are you here?
No, the mum was like, this is...
Oh, so mum did the introductions for you.
That's it. The Milni,
smart guy.
The Milni, the hard, so that was. I thought he knew. So that was that. And then me meeting Shindy's parents again. So we did Langaran campus for a few years when I was in Sikh Sock, and Shindy's dad would come down with his big van, pick up loads of samosa. So I was on a really good level with Shindy's dad. Like he was. It was Shindy's mum I had to like convince.
Really?
Yeah. And she was a little bit colder with me initially, but then she melted.
Protective of her daughter, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I was like, come on. I was like,
I'm a good munda. I'm a good boy.
Doctor.
I'm a doctor. Yeah.
Tick meat nahi khanda, sharab nahi pinda, nahi khanda.
Oh yeah, sure.
I was like all the ticks, man. Like, come on.
Now you eat meat.
Well. So yeah. So no real kind of, and I didn't feel that nervous. Like I didn't have to prep Shindy. I didn't say, don't talk about this. But again, I think. In hindsight, that's a reflection of the partner I'm choosing.
Yeah.
Like I'm confident she can hold her own, but that's very important to me. I value somebody who has excellent communication and can be, come into your family. Like her family is my family is her family. Like that's not like these are your in-laws. Like no, that has to go from my feeling, right? And she really quickly went into that, and I could see that. Okay, because we live with my parents, right? And I was like, you need to be a homemaker. Are you going to be that person? Yeah. Right. That wasn't obvious. We didn't know we were going to do that. But when it became obvious, it was like, you clearly have the skill set for that as well. Yeah. Running a house, being with mum and dad. So yeah, I didn't have any worries.
So you had no nerves?
No.
I was absolutely bricking it.
Really?
Yeah,
Why?
man.
What was the thing that worried you?
So you've met my family. They can be quite a mad bunch. Like they are very.
Wait, sorry.
I have two siblings that are very
Nerves
dominant.
of your family meeting them, or your nerves
No,
meeting them?
so here's
Yeah.
here's where the nuance comes into it. She will naturally be nervous meeting mine. I will naturally be nervous meeting her.
Yep.
But also when she meets my family, I'm nervous as well. Or when I meet her family, she's nervous as well.
Okay.
So it's important to let the other person know that what you're feeling is the same as what they're feeling. That way, on the day, we were checking in on each other, like saying, "How you doing? Is everything okay?" Like just giving each other a look, like,
On the day
"Are you
of
okay?"
what? Rocco, you're on about?
No, so if you're meeting your family and maybe it doesn't go well, or there's an uncomfortable question, or they're looking a bit uncomfortable,
Yeah.
you give them a look like, "Everything cool? Like, are you okay?" Just to touch in, because that way it brings you closer together afterwards, because you both know you were in the trenches together essentially,
Yeah.
and it's a difficult scenario.
Yeah, and it's this whole thing. You know, you're saying boxing styles makes fights.
Yeah.
Right? So, and you find this definitely when you get married. You know how like, oh, how do you guys do mainly like in this order then land then like everything is there's no rules for this shit. But everyone makes up their own.
Yeah,
thing.
everyone's got their own.
But there's got to be
tradition
this like
they wanna follow.
negotiation.
Yeah.
And you'll see that. And when families meet, there is always a certain way one side will do something the other. And it's not a clash. It can be a clash, but I have found it's just a bit of hazing, a bit of banter, and then everyone just kind of mellows out and they realize why you're here and
That's
you know,
nice.
that kind of stuff.
So when I was introducing Sanj to friends, this was
You
big
introduce
for me
Sanj to friends, yeah.
because my friends I put a lot of importance on, and when she met them, I wanted them to have a good opinion of her. But naturally, her being the girl that she is, she just shone. And she was very, very good, and she was very astute in handling herself in her own way. And a lot of people were saying comments that obviously make your heart very warm, which is, I can tell why you two are together. Because they can see the chemistry that the two of us have when we are together and how we act towards each other. And they think, you know what, it makes perfect sense.
I'll say it again. You know, I say this really, really often. Guys, if you don't know, when me and Indy met each other, I didn't really like Indy that much.
Thanks, man.
Yeah,
I love you
it's just
too.
honest truth. But since Sanj came into his life, I like Indy a lot more because of Sanj. she's just a gem of a person. Yeah.
Thanks, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
The other thing I want to mention
Go on.
is when it comes to families and they don't necessarily gel, it doesn't mean it's the end of the world. The one thing I told myself was if it doesn't work out on that day and everything goes to shit and it ends in tears, I thought it doesn't matter. I'm still sure about this person. Even though I put a big significance on it, I sit and think, well, I'm not living with my family later. I'm not living with them forever. I'm marrying this person, hopefully forever. So I'm putting more of a significance in how I feel with them there. And if they can handle this difficult scenario, them being my wife to be or husband to be in some people's scenarios, I'm more focused on that. If it doesn't work out, they'll figure out a way to be civil with each other in the future.
But again, I think that's definitely more our generation. There are definitely a subset of people where it's like they're kind of, you know, if my parents aren't happy with this rishta, then I'm not going to go ahead with it.
Yeah.
Right? Or you've got the whole in, you know, K3G, Shah Rukh Khan. He's like, I want to marry Kajal. Right? He's like, I don't care.
Bringing this up.
No, but it's true. He's like,
You're
you know,
such a Hindi film lover.
but
Honestly.
everybody knows, everyone can relate to that, right? It's like, I'm going to leave, I'm going to walk out.
You know, that's the first Bollywood film I ever saw.
K3G?
Yeah. First one ever.
Okay.
I wasn't a DDLJ kid.
Okay, fair enough. But yeah, I think we're of the same opinion where, yeah, if you want to fight for this person, you'll fight this person and everything kind of works itself out.
Right, Cheryl Cole. Fight for this love.
But yeah, that can be a thing. And
yeah.
But it does develop your skill set as a person in terms of your own communication. You're sitting your own parents down and speaking to them and trying to understand. Because often, again, we'll touch on this when we get to cast. If you actually imagine you're with a parent or with a person who's very like a jatana bhai karna, right? And you go down a flow chart of trying to understand what significance they put on this
Let's
cast.
just go into it now because we're here. Go on. So carry on.
Right. So yeah. So I had this conversation with a very good friend who basically, you know, was saying to his parents that, you know, I'm going to marry out of caste or maybe even out of religion.
But you married out of caste.
Yeah.
So what was that like for you first? So you were open to all avenues and all doors.
Yeah.
So, but even though you married someone out of caste.
Yeah. And again, the intention was when I met Shindy, like I know some people have this thing about asking very early or looking at the surname. Again, man, we were two young guys. I want to be with a Kuri, man. Like, it doesn't really matter, man. So I didn't go in thinking Jatana bhai karna. And that, to be honest, from a young age, it wasn't ingrained in me. Like, you have to find Jat Kuri. That wasn't like on the agenda. When it came up as a thing, there was like very little resistance within the family.
Yeah.
India family, if anything, so you can look at I got a lot, obviously my nan all in India. They're like happy to see you. Like, it's more about, again, it comes to the values of the families. How is the person, number one, and how is their family? That's more of a thing. So yeah, but I had a friend, okay, and there were two scenarios. There was non-Jat, That's one. And then there was like non-Sikh. That was two. And he was trying to broach this conversation with his parents. One parent was like fine with it, one was very resistant. And I was trying to explore that concept with him that actually, if you take somebody down this flowchart of where is your resistance, it's not based on anything. They have these preconceptions, right? These limiting beliefs about this equals this. But if you explore that, it's because that person has been taught by their parents and they never questioned that logic, right? And actually, if you look at a more kind of high level point, the values we have, say the beliefs we have about what success is, how to run a household, money beliefs, all this stuff we inherit from our parents because we see the news, we read books, and we spend time with those people. But then there comes a point in your life where you start having your own experiences. And when you have your own experiences, that then challenges the beliefs that you've been grown up with, right? Your value system. And it's not that you get rid of those values, but you start to amalgamate them with your own values.
Hence why you were open to meeting somebody that wasn't in that, or you didn't even go in with that thought of like, they must be this.
Yeah, because my upbringing has not been in that way. I've been around a lot of people. And so that wasn't a thing.
But you're the eldest as well in your family.
Yeah,
So for you could have been the one to set that precedent early.
Yeah.
In my family, I didn't have any chance of doing that. I knew that when it came to my sister, she got married quite young, about 24.
Okay.
She was told specifically, you have to meet a Munda who is Jat. Okay. And it was like, okay, fine. That's the expectation that my mum and dad have put on.
And so if you look at that now, so I'll ask you the question, not that it's you, but you as the surrogate. What is it that they think they're getting with the Jat?
I think it's the realm of knowing what you're going to get. As in,
which
we
is
understand
what does Jat
people.
What does Jat equal?
I don't know.
That's what I'm trying to.
I don't know. I'm like,
because
listen, I haven't got a
behaviors.
tractor in my back garden. I don't have any of that. I haven't got. Fair enough. Dad does grow food in the garden. I respect that, right? But I haven't got a tractor in the garden. I can't. I have hay fever. I'm not basically, if you think about it.
Weakest Jat in the world.
So all of these problems that meant so much back in the past or meant something doesn't mean anything today.
Right.
But they're trapped in the past because parents are bringing their expectations or their understanding of what life used to be for them, bringing their backwards beliefs here.
Yeah, and they don't even have it in
it
India.
and never letting them grow.
It's so developing the skill, like I said before, is about how you communicate that. If you go off on one with a parent or a rishtadar about it, it's just too aggressive. They're not going to get it. But if you not advise, but you ask questions, right? If you ask them the questions.
Oh, I told you a story about this. I'll tell people now. So when I was dating Sanj, I wanted to put the feelers out there of how mum would feel about me dating someone that wasn't Jat. And I essentially got her into a corner pretty quickly. So I said to my mum, what if I met someone who isn't Jat? She said, no, I can't do that. I said, why? And she said, because, you know, they do things differently to us. I
Mannerisms,
said,
right?
Do they now? Okay.
Yeah, go on.
And I said, Mum, hang on. Didn't you go to a wedding recently where a Munda married a white girl who's converted to Sikhi? Oh, but that's different. You went to a destination wedding for this as well. Something you won't even give me, but you went to that destination wedding because it was fine. What? Is it because he was, and the guy I think was a divorcee. So all these numerous like taboo things mixed in one. I said, by you going to that wedding, you're endorsing that couple. So I said, so why are you okay with it? Then eventually she started saying, okay, fine. All right, maybe I'll be open to it. I had to prove the point that she can break out of that mentality.
But you use reason and logic.
Yeah, I had to use the reason and logic. But I can only reason and logic with my mum. My dad will never listen to that. But I know who my parents are and I know what I can and can't get
There's
away
always a
with.
go-to, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. For me as mum, it's you as mum as well.
Mum. It's always mum.
Mum's a softie, innit? Like, generally. That's where you need to go in.
But we hope that caste isn't a major thing that people focus on nowadays. I understand why you would for parental differences and to keep your parents happy. Genuinely think about yourself. That's just me now speaking. Think about what you want in the person, how they are. That's it. Sorted. Happy? All right. Next topic.
Cool.
So, any mishaps when meeting the family? I got a great one with this.
Yeah, you start.
So when I was in Morocco, I came from Birmingham. My wife is in London. Driving to London. I said, all right, I want a nice journey down. I don't want to have to drive my car. Mum and dad said, we'll take one car. My brother said, I'm going in another car. I went in the car with my brother and Bubby, composing myself in the back, got my nerves going, playing some music, trying to keep myself happy. I'm calling my sister saying, whereabouts are you? She's about 15, 20 minutes behind us on the motorway. My parents were about 15, 20 minutes behind as well. Fine. I get there at my wife-to-be's house. Call my mum and dad. Where are you? They're like, we're in West London. I said, hang on. How did you end up in West London? We need to be in East London. And they said, we took the wrong turn. I said, right. So they went on the M25. They went west, not east. Yeah, because my dad was shouting at my mum. She was driving. And no, my mum gave my dad bad directions as he was driving and went through west. And when you go to West London, what does Google Maps do? Sends you through central London. So they're driving through central London, on a Sunday.
Seeing the Queen.
On a Sunday, they showed up 3 hours late to my rocker.
Yo.
So I had to walk into my wife's house and say, look, I really need the toilet. Went inside, sat down, went in the tent.
Yeah.
Mum and dad arrived. I had to step back outside. And you had to do the whole like there again for a second time.
Yeah.
And then put the person in the second time and then walk in.
Yeah.
So
And your father-in-law was saying they're like,
He's sitting there. Why do these Birmingham Monday do things differently to us in London?
Yeah.
That's the first thing that's going through his mind. So things didn't get off to a very good start. The other mishap I had going was I bought out a marriage contract.
I commend this. I think it's a really funny idea.
So I said to my wife for years, I said, whenever our parents meet and stuff, I'm going to bring a contract of things that you must stick by.
Abide by.
For us to have a successful marriage. It's going to be fantastic. Everything's going to be great.
That's what you...
And she said, no, you won't. No, you won't. And then eventually I simmered down. I said, you know what? I'm not going to do it. In the background, I was scheming. I got a cousin who's a lawyer. I messaged her saying, can you write me out a full legitimate contract? She said, yes. Give me her name, her address, her age, everything. And I gave all the details. And as we're doing the whole rock ceremony, everything's done. I stopped everyone. I said, listen, I've got an announcement to make. I pulled out a contract on the table. I said, Sanj, I need you to sign this. And she said, what? Her face dropped.
Yeah.
She's reading it. And I'm going to read you the stipulations I put in here.
So good. I love these.
The one that you love the most is I said...
Say it with full elocution. Go ahead.
Okay, where's the date? Right, Indy must take the wife on one date night per month, every month, during which the parties will have a dine-out meal, make direct eye contact, and hold hands with one another if Indy chooses to do so.
If Indy
chooses to do so.
Wow.
So she's reading this in stitches thinking, is he being real? Another one was, we will wake up for the NBA All-Star game every year and we must take the day off work afterwards to abide by this.
That's it, good.
All these different things. I was being over the top silly.
Yeah, hyperbole.
Yeah, hyperbole, taking the mic. As soon as I leave, her dad switches and said, you are not signing that contract. You are not doing this. How dare they come to the house? Said, Dad, it was a joke. It was a joke.
Late on there. Contract not on there.
It was a joke, Dad. It was a joke. So don't do what I did. It was meant to be a joke. It landed with my wife, thankfully, but her family were not impressed. Yeah. So
maybe add a label. You know what would have been really funny? If you did that, said it was a joke, and then pulled out like a prenup. This is a real contract. you actually need to
sign this one.
I'll sign it.
This is Janga.
Yeah. podcast बहुत बड़ा हो गया ना तो तेरे कुछ नहीं मिलना.
That's it, done. You're not getting anything.
That's it.
Yeah. That was my mishap. Have you had anything?
No,
everything was smooth for you. Smooth sailing, no problems. Fine.
Look, when you're the doctor, everything's fine.
Married life. How do you split the chores and cooking?
This is an interesting one. So
we have a very different approach to this.
We do have a different approach. The reason why it's interesting is because there's a whole bigger conversation happening about gender roles, right? And Jordan Peterson talks about this a lot, and you know what men and women should do, and equality, and all this type of stuff. Where I find it interesting, though, is when it comes to the actual point, when I agree with this, which is, irrespective of the gender, if somebody is strong at something, they should do that, right? But it doesn't mean they have to do it in entirety. So, for example, I'm not a very good cook, although I am learning. I did my first tarka last week and my first roti, which is nearly round. So I'm getting there.
How was the torka?
Really good. Really well received. Did the parthiyan chole and...
how many rounds of shampoo did you need to use in your dari and hair afterwards, though?
That's a really good question.
Very good question.
Yeah, and then I tried to find...
That's the density.
I tried to find some sort of beard bib for cooking. It doesn't exist. I'll tell you what did kill me, man. Cutting onions. I was in tears. And I think... So we started swimming recently.
He's not domesticated. He's not domesticated at all.
I went and got my swimming goggles and put them on. So I'm standing. No, I stood there with my swimming goggles and I was like, I'm ready now. But without those, I was like dying, man. I couldn't do it. Right. But outside of that.
Just a quick hack.
Go.
The reason why your eyes well up is because you cut the bulb.
Root. No, I hadn't cut it.
If you don't cut the bulb,
I looked up all this stuff. It's fine. I use my goggles now, okay? That's my hack.
Okay, all right, fine.
So Shindy is primarily the cook, right?
Yes,
but that doesn't mean I can't help in my capacity. So I'm the sous chef. I'm the chopper. I'm the washer.
Okay.
Putting stuff away. That's my role.
Good.
Right? But then, for example, in our house, all the tech stuff, all the automation, all the upgrading, like, maintenance stuff, that all goes through me. So I think quickly establishing what you're good at. I'm very organized. She's not organized at all. If we didn't have our Google Calendar, Google Drive, nothing would get done, right? So I do all that. What she's good at, she does. What I do, I'm good at. But there are things that we share together. And the banter of doing things together is really enjoyable.
Yeah.
Going shopping together. And I know you don't do that. But yeah, I think there has to be some equity because where we live now, where mainly both people work now, it's not the kind of stay-at-home wife type thing anymore, or stay-at-home husband or whatever. I think there has to be some equality in what you do.
Yeah.
But have that conversation early. That's point number one. Point number two is if you're going to move into a house where it's not your own house, so we live with mom and dad, Then there's a second dynamic, which is sitting down, mum and dad, what are your expectations of us? What do you expect us to do in terms of financially, what's the contribution, and from a chore perspective?
Yeah.
So there's within you and you and your partner, you and your wife and husband, and then that second level. You don't have that because you got your own space.
Yeah.
But those are the two things I would say.
Do you have you're missing a key point.
Go.
Do you have a cleaner?
Yeah.
Okay, right. He is not of the normal world. Okay.
No, it doesn't mean I don't do cleaning though. Look, if you're
He doesn't do cleaning.
if you're Punjabi, listen, I've said this.
Go on. When was the last time you fired up a Hoover?
Farted. I heard fart.
No, you fired up a Hoover.
No, I could do it now and again if I need to.
When was the last time?
2 days ago.
Mine was yesterday.
That's great.
Okay, cool. You're fully lying. I know you're.
No. We were cleaning the cinema room, so I had to do it. But what's my point about that? If you're Punjabi and you have a cleaner, you clean for the cleaner. This is what you don't understand. You don't let her do safai. You still have to do safai, so it's not as bad. It's just a weird thing. So, but yeah, we do.
Okay, I'm very different, but me and Sanj live in a flat, so we can clean it fine. We split it things 50-50. So I cook, she cooks.
Okay.
She cleans certain things, I clean certain things. So I do the Hoover, I do the washing, I do washing of kapare. That's my remit. She does everything else. Fine. But this is where we differ with me and you. I can do everything she can do. She can do everything I can do. So let's say one person isn't here for a week or they're away on holiday. We can fulfill the other person's role in the house. So therefore things keep running and ticking. That I think is really important for both of us and how we operate. So
which is why I'm learning how to cook. So
good
skill
just in
sets.
case Shindy is away at home for like a weekend,
Just hire a cook. It's not a problem.
or just ask mum.
Yeah, all that.
Because you live with the parents.
Yeah, it's
That's
exactly
because you live with
there's
parents.
4 of us. Yeah, exactly. So then actually the sharing of duties is across 4 rather.
It is. So that's how I think it needs to be done.
But have the conversation early, right? So this is again comes down to communication. Have good
Yeah,
communication.
but
have
how about the
it
first
early.
date?
No, why do you keep talking about first date?
Because this is a dating app, girl.
I know, but I'm giving people the advanced gear now. Like when
Okay,
when
right. When you're like,
yeah, first date, like so jib main roti banai tu meri sabji banaungi, like
if I make the roti, you're gonna make the sabji.
tu jib main Hoover da switch on karta tu Hoover marungi, like
Is that my contribution? Am I keeping things?
I put the tar away, you know? No.
All right, next one.
Go.
Time with your partner versus time with friends before getting married and then after married.
So there's 2 parts of this question that we were talking about. So after 1 year of marriage, my reflection, my learning point was this: just because you live together doesn't mean you're spending time together.
Yeah.
Okay. Do not make your partner your roommate. Very easy to get complacent with this. The
Yes.
fact that because pre-marriage, most Punjabi people are not going to live together. Although it does happen, I'm not against it. I think it's a good thing in terms of testing as well, as long as both parents and things are happy and your values are similar. But if you're not that, when you meet each other before, it's very fun and and then you get married and you get used to each other. I remember the day after we got married, had a reception. I looked at Shindy and was like, "Oh, like you're not going to go home now. Like you're just here." It was like a really weird thing that you're not going home now because you spent some time. You used to go before. And so so you have to actively. So you got your chores, you got your own karma that you need to do, but then you need to actually spend time together,
But
meaningful time.
But tell me before you got married and tell me afterwards. Tell me the before first.
So pre-marriage was very high intensity. You go out for a day, you do things, everything's really meaningful. It's all high energy.
It's all fun.
Yeah, it's all high energy because that responsibility level is not there.
Yeah.
Yes, when you're doing wedding planning, there is that level of responsibility, but outside of that, it's just you're doing your own stuff in the background. Okay. After marriage, actively you need to work towards it. This is date night. This is night where I'm not going to be on a laptop. This is let's go for a walk or a yoga session or whatever it might be. Find things that you connect on. Own space is also important after marriage because you are living together. You share a bedroom. That's different. Before you just do your own thing. You watch TV till late, and now it's like I have to consider another person. Shindy's nighttime routine is like 3 times as long as mine. So I have to get started really early, or I'm there just like, I don't want to mess
Yeah,
around.
it is, to be fair. I've seen
Right?
this. Yeah,
So yeah, you've seen it happen. So there's all these different things that you have to consider. Seeing your friends. Yeah, I remember my best men who were doing the speech, and they said in their speech, they were like, please let him come out like after he gets married.
You don't, to be fair. You're very much like a home bunda.
No, I know I do, but it's like it's only with a select few. Like it's you and I got 2 other mates.
Yeah.
Outside of that, like it's not because it's not like Shindy doesn't allow me to go out. Like she does her own stuff, man.
But I think a part of it is you actually enjoy spending time with your wife.
Yeah, and plus although yeah,
Genuinely.
yeah, genuinely.
Some guys are like, I need to get out from the wife.
I know.
I can hear it at work, and they say, "Oh, I'm glad to be here today." I don't want to go
How
home
many
to
years
the
in
wife."
though? Out of interest, how many years in marriage are they?
Quite recent.
Oh, okay.
Some of them, yeah.
I feel like that perception is generally, the veterans, 20-year plus ones.
Yeah, true,
Oh, no,
true.
like, "Kei saal ho gaye." I've forgotten where we met, like that kind of level,
I forgot it was our anniversary today.
Yeah, that kind
Panic
of
Flowers, same day
Yeah,
delivery,
yeah.
Amazon.
petrol station,
Yep,
yeah,
that's it.
stuff. Yeah. No, it's not that, but I think, and we have so many projects I'm just busy
Yeah,
with that kind
true.
of stuff.
So for you managed to keep it quite steady. You managed
yeah,
to make
just
that transition well.
transition went well. Just that thing. Just because you live together doesn't mean you're spending time together.
Okay.
Actively be engaged. So it's fine creating time. Like you can do all these different things, but when you're with the person, then don't be on your phone or don't be. I have this thing about planning, which So sometimes my default is when I'm with Shindy, I just start planning stuff. I'm
Yeah,
like,
you do.
are we go next holiday? And I start doing research with them. She's like, no research, no
Just
planning.
spend time with me.
Yeah. Engage time.
Yes.
Being attention. That was the word I was looking for. Give attention to your partner.
Yes.
Creating time is important. That's the first thing. Time is the greatest asset.
Yes.
We know that. But when you have created the time, give attention to your time.
Yes.
That's the next level up.
So for me, me and Sanj did long distance. So you and Shindy were relatively local, so you could do a day trip, meet up.
Not 1
get
hour.
back.
Yeah.
That's decent.
Yeah.
Birmingham to London, hard.
Yeah.
I can't do that every weekend. So
Not
when
in
I
your-
was
not
with
in
Sanj-
your Gadi.
Huh?
Not in your Gadi.
Of course not. Not in my car.
Bibi mobile.
Not in my old car. In my old Focus manual, driving up and down the M1, 50 mile an hour for 30 miles. Your legs are tired, man. Your back's hurting. Everything hurts by the time you get there. You're drenched in sweat. You're not in your best behavior. You're like, I'm tired. And now I've got to be high energy. Nay. Right?
Nay.
That or train ticket prices, all of a sudden things are going out the window. It's getting a bit expensive. So what I had to do with me and Sanj was we had to both actively agree that we're going to meet each other up every 2 weeks. Regardless, like you come to London, I come to Birmingham. We have to do that to keep things ticking for like the day. So when it came to pre-marriage, I was having time to see my friends. I could do that very easily. It wasn't difficult. It was more so there were some weekends where I would spend time with Sanj and it would just be me and Sanj, which is great. But on the Sunday, I want to just relax by myself. I don't want to have to go out and see people.
Me time.
I'll go see my family. I want some me time. Now, after marriage, I moved to London. So I was in a new city. So I was assuming the role of what most girls would do. They tend to move in with the husband. I moved to London because Sanj had her own place. My job was here. Everything made sense for me to move here. Now, it was also something that she made clear, which is she didn't want to move to Birmingham. And I also have lived in London because I went to uni here. So I was like, I can make the transition quite easily.
We've had this debate.
We have had this debate. You want me to move back? It's not going to happen. I'm sorry.
No, I'm with Sanj now.
What?
You stay here. I like having a base here now.
Oh, okay. I thought you were like, I don't like having you in Birmingham.
No, it's not that. It's not
Okay,
that.
cool.
It's a nice base for us to.
Okay, I'm just checking. Thank you very much.
Free Airbnb, you know. So it's
Yeah.
good,
Free Airbnb. Yeah, cheers, buddy.
Sure.
I'm going to charge you next time, right? So, yeah, it was important to do that. And I, prior to being with Sanj, I was dating another girl for years.
Yeah.
And she was from London, but that fell apart. And when I look back on hindsight, it's because we both drifted away. We didn't put in time to see each other. We didn't call each other. We just had a text message relationship.
Yeah.
And I didn't want that with Sanj. I liked her that much. I didn't want it to fall apart, and nor did she. And we both knew it was going to be a grind, but we told ourselves, this situation is temporary, us being apart. We're not going to be doing this forever. So when things get difficult and you're doing a long distance thing, you have to have open communication. You have to call the person in the evening. You have to chisel out time for them. They are your priority. And you can go and see friends, and that's great. And you can miss a call here and there. But sometimes when you don't, it accumulates and it builds quite quickly.
Yeah.
So you have to keep conversation open and clear.
Consistency. So again, the overarching themes of this conversation, guys, the things that we are saying are very important and still remain important after you get married are honesty and communicate early. What's on your mind has to be out of here. We can't read each other's minds. Body language, yes. You can sense if something's a bit off. Speak about it.
And you've allured to the shared calendar thing. Now, post-marriage, when you're with someone, you can be with your wife, but you're seeing people all the time on weekends. You're with family. You're not spending time with your actual wife one-to-one. So when I do that, I put my phone away. I give them the full amount of time. We go out. We go to like an event, an exhibition. That's important because your marriage isn't made as soon as you've completed your 4 lava. That's not it. As soon as it's done, on paper, you are married, yes. But afterwards, that's where the real building blocks start happening, when you start doing the effort and having all these little things alongside yourself.
You start a podcast to get away from your wife.
Start a podcast to get away from
your wife.
No, of course I don't. But that's how it is. You have to keep putting in the work consistently.
Yeah, consistency is important. But me time is also okay, and both people will need me time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so respect each other's me time.
All right, Goran. So does social media create an unrealistic expectation of what people should think they should have in a marriage or in a dating world?
Yeah, maybe marriage is a separate one. Let's talk about finding a partner.
Okay,
right?
Finding a partner. Yeah,
finding a partner. I am so happy that I don't know how to use filters and all that people do, man. Because when I see people do it,
the dog filter.
yeah, Kotala, or just all this, the freckly one, the Anka. And it's
The
just like,
rainbow.
I remember the first photo I saw of Shindy, and she laughs about it because basically it was her and a mate, and she always jokes that I was looking at the other kuri. In the
Oh,
photo, in
okay.
the photo, she's like, you didn't know who it was. You looking at the other kuri, and I was like, no, I knew it was you. But it was her at UOB train station, really like zoomed out. You couldn't really see her face
Yeah,
and everything,
yeah.
but it was
A little bit
completely
pixelated.
natural, right? And now I just, like from a doctor's perspective, and I used to have an aesthetics brand as well, which I've sold now. The unrealistic expectation of what people are now conditioned to think that is the standard of beauty, right? So let's
Touch on the aesthetics thing. I think it's important.
right. So like for example, so we got into that because we thought, okay, it's good money. I know we'd seen that person on The Apprentice win it, and we started doing it, and we quickly realized that a lot of people have undiagnosed body dysmorphia. Okay. And we were doing kind of lip fillers on people, and they were coming back like, no, I wanted like this and this. And it was just completely unethical to a point. And so we'd be like, look, we're not the providers to give you this type of thing. Our main market actually became basically the elder generation who were very realistic, wanted a bit of Botox, were realistic that it wouldn't remove everything, but they were happy. And we were happy ethically to do that for those types of people. But these unrealistic standards of beauty, right? And now that we have access to everything, we see like Kim K, and we see all these influencers, and OnlyFans is here now as well. And everyone's like, oh, I have to look like this, otherwise I'm not going to get a partner. Is destroying people, man.
Yeah.
Right. And look, I say this all the time. Physical attraction, yes, is important within a relationship, right? But very quickly, it becomes about much, much more than that.
Yeah.
Love and attraction and lust and all those things are completely different things, man. Initially, it's all the same.
Because
But
you can't figure it out.
it's just all amalgamated. But as you go through a relationship, that love becomes a whole separate entity, and you
Yep.
love that person, and it's not because of the way they look. It's not that you're not attracted. Like, she need to ask me something like, "You still attracted to me?" I was like, "Yeah, obviously I'm still attracted to you." But I'm like, "Your brain is so sexy, man." I'll say things like that to her, and she's like, "Huh?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man." I was like, "That the mag, buddiya." I was like, "The way you speak, man." I was like, "Yeah, you're on a different level, man."
Oh my God.
Right? But no, but genuinely,
Sounded like Dexter over here or something.
yeah, corporate cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Because when you're into a relationship, that becomes more important. So people should focus less on that. I'm not saying don't look after your body, right? I'm just saying that don't get into such a negative space that you think I'm not attractive enough. Don't get to that state.
Did you find that when you were running the aesthetics brand, you found an overwhelming amount of young women coming in wanting lip fillers?
Absolutely.
And how dangerous does that become?
Yeah.
Because you're thinking, whoa, I didn't think I was coming into it for this. You came into it with a different expectation.
Absolutely.
And
I knew
when you
that
start
was
seeing
part
that,
of the
you
market.
think, I don't want any part of this anymore.
Exactly. And we just took basically the way we got rid of that market was we got rid of all of our offers.
Yeah.
And we just made that really expensive because we didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
We put all the offers on the elder generation Botox.
Yeah.
Because look, if you start doing it at 18, 19, 20 years old, you're going to be doing that for life. So there's obviously the cost of that, the maintenance of that. Then there's the kind of the whole mental health aspect on that as well, because you're going to think, if I haven't got it, then I'm not beautiful anymore.
Yeah.
Right. And you then condition your mind to think like that. It's not about that, man. So social media, look, I think it's fine, obviously with, the dating apps as well, you have certain pictures, but make them real, man. Make them real, because at some point you need to meet that real person.
Well, this is why
And you're not going to have atta every time you meet someone.
This is why the app is so good, because you have to take a selfie. You have to take 3 pictures normally, and it sets expectations quite early. Fair enough. You can do what I do, which is if I was to do it, I'll probably have a picture in a bug, picture in a vodka, and a picture like this I am now.
Oh my God.
Because I want people to
You're
understand.
like, which indie do you want?
Smart indie.
Yeah.
This is indie unlike gym. This is
Anji.
indie in like a normal day.
Coachella
You get
indie,
to
huh?
understand all 3. Coachella indie.
Coachella indie, hippie
You get
indie,
to
huh?
understand all 3 of me, because that's important. I want people to know that's how I look.
Yeah.
And that's very clear.
Those are my comfort states, or states, yeah.
I think if you can find someone now that isn't on social media, you found an absolute unicorn, and hang on to them wherever you can, because they're not going to have any big preconceived notions of who you should and shouldn't be. They might not do like a deep dive. It's common now for people to go on dating apps and stalk the other person, find their ats, see where they are, look at their Facebook, see a mutual friend, reach out to the mutual friend,
Vetting.
ask the mutual friend about them. It's a bit much. I just want people to have a fair chance every time they meet someone, and that's kind of going out the window. I'm personally not a fan of celebrity couple goals, where, for example, you'll see this power couple go online doing have you seen that flow yoga stuff where like one's lying on the floor and the other one's on top, and they're like doing all this weird funky movements? I think, hang on. So is the expectation that when I'm with someone, I have to do this kind of yoga? I have to be in shape. I have to be able to lift them up and do this thing as if I'm in Dirty Dancing every single week. Like, no,
It's
you can't
keeping
do that.
up with the Joneses.
Right. And you set your own expectations for what you want. For me and my wife, we like going for walks. We like going out and about and seeing and doing things. That's our couple goals. But you're not going to catch me out there posting all about it on social media.
Yeah, so that's a separate point. So the showcasing of it, right? If you do choose to showcase it, again, it's about the intention. We met some friends recently who are getting married this year, and they were sincere about the point, but they were like, guys, your life seems really cool. I post nothing. I don't know how to post. Put it that way. When I open Instagram, I'm like,
he looks at the phone. He's like, how does this work?
Indy Dr, right? But Shindy will do the stuff from my socials, her socials, and they were there like, your life just seems so cool. You're always like traveling. You're doing this, this, and this. And I said to him, I said, look, we're just at a different point in life.
Yeah.
Right. Where you are now about to get married, we were there. This is your everything.
Yeah.
Just live it. But like you said, whatever your version of that success is within a couple or goals, it's your version. If you want to share it, you share it for the right reasons, not to show off, not to boast, but also people, and I think this is the problem with social media, it's the subconscious level of comparison that we do.
Yeah,
right?
all of us are going to.
Jealousy is the thief of joy, right? And if you just, and the only antidote to that is gratitude, man. You have to just, and we've started mentioning it in this year, the gratitude jar.
Yeah, good.
So one thing on a Sunday, you just really reflect and think about, all things I have. But yeah, unrealistic expectation, man. You need to get away from it.
Also, understand all of your friends lie on social media. I don't care who they are. Everyone's lied. People will post the overly positive thing, but you don't know how they're genuinely feeling on the inside. I've seen people take 60 photos of themselves and pick one to post on social media.
Yeah.
It's too much. You don't have to be perfect. I will sit here and take a one shot of me and you quickly and just say, yeah, we did this.
You don't even tell me you're taking it.
No, done.
But
it's just like, yeah, done. Because I just want to get that documented. We use it for documentation purposes.
Yeah.
We don't do it for anything else. I use it as a business function.
Yeah, to know.
But everyone else has got their own expectations for it, and it's a bit silly. Right. Someone has reached out to us and they've said they're under pressure by their parents to find someone by a certain age. How do you handle this situation?
Oh, the age thing, man. The age thing is it's a phenomenon. I think it's going now. Right. I got married.
Do you think it's getting worse?
No, I think it's most of my friends now, of which you know some of as well, are more than 30 and unmarried.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas our parents, teens, early 20s, that was the norm.
Very early 20s.
Then just before we got married, it was kind of like the 25 was some sort of level where you should get married at.
Yes.
I was a 27 level. I was like, okay. Because the other thing that I think is changing now is one is people are getting married later, and number two, people are having kids later, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's a bad thing at all. Again, from my point of view, what I see people doing now is it's that testing phase. It's, I want to test this longer. Is this person have the same values and values I have? And can I see myself living with this person before I commit to getting married? That can get delayed if you meet your person later in life, right? But this blueprint for life that we have about educated at this age, VR at this age, this many kids, this 5-bedroom house, this BMW, bullshit. It's all bullshit. It's the same thing like the caste system, right? It's you ask them, you challenge people who believe these things. Why? Why do you put so much stock in it? They have no answer. It's just, I got taught this, I'm teaching you this. We are the generation that is challenging that now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I put no thinking in it. I don't think there's a right age. So I guess the thing, Indy, is look, from a medical perspective, as you get older, having kids, there is slightly more complications. But it's not to say that it can't happen.
No, of course not.
And so, I wouldn't say you have to do something by a certain age. But there's always going to be advice for all these things. But that's fine. Take it at your own pace. Have real conversations with your parents and just question them. Yes, I understand you did it this way, but it's not the same anymore. It's really not. Classic example. My mom was going to be a doctor. She got into medical school.
Really?
She fell in love with my dad and was like, I'm not studying medicine and marrying dad. I said, Mom, imagine I had that conversation. I don't want to be a doctor. Wouldn't fly now, would it?
No, of course not.
Right? And Mum's like, well, be out of ball, yeah.
But your mum's very successful in her own way afterwards.
She is now. Yeah.
So she found her own pathway to make it
Which is just to show there's no one right way to do any of these things.
Yeah.
But this arbitrary thing about age and milestones for life and checkpoints, bullshit.
When it came to the age thing, for me, because I'm the youngest, I had a window where my sister got married at 24, my brother got married at 29.
Right.
So I was like, okay, after 29, the clock's ticking, and then the parents can be like, meet someone.
Hello.
Right. So when I was 26, I remember I came home, 26, 27. Yeah. Dad's trying to tell me that he's found a girl for me in the most obtuse way possible.
Yeah. You know what it is? It's a ticket to India. It's like, oh, it's India, Jana.
Close. It was close enough. He said, Acha, I found a lawyer. I said, oh, okay. Found a lawyer, Dad. Acha, okay.
Did he marriage contract karte hain?
Tell me more. He said, yeah. So I've got a number. Yeah. I said,
okay, you're like, good for you, Dad.
And he said, so here's a number. And I was like, oh, no, Dad, I'm not interested. He said, why? I said, I'm not ready. Realistically, I was dating Sanj, but I wasn't anywhere near ready to tell my parents about it. Yeah. Funnily enough, my wife Sanj only told her dad about me because her dad was trying to get her hitched up with someone else. That's when she had to come out with on the day saying, no, Dad, I've met someone. He's like, a charcoal. And then that started going quickly, which is like, next. Are you getting married now? What's happening? So that pushed things further. Even though we were kind of ready, it just landed in that moment. And we think, okay, our hand's been forced a little bit. It wasn't too quickly. But we knew the second you have that conversation with your parents, it's going to go in that direction quite fast. So there is a bit of a pressure aspect because I feel like parents are thinking, let's get them married. And then if it doesn't work out, they'll figure it out. But they don't know that a divorce card is very possible. And
it's more prevalent. It's more prevalent.
And that's cool. You can take it.
Yeah.
Don't rush kids into thinking it. Let them take their own time and figure out, as you said earlier, lust, love, realistic expectations, where we're going to live, how's this going to work out. Like you have to give that time to organically let those conversations happen.
That's a key word.
If I come in with that energy on the first date, you're going to think, whoa, calm down. I just came in for a drink.
OTT,
Right? So there is that push with parents, and it's trying to get them to calm down and have that grace period. We got a long cooling period because we had that conversation really pre-pandemic. Then we had the pandemic happen, and we had to wait a year and a half for our rukka. Then we had our rukka, and then we had to wait another year to have our wedding because we were in this weird open close time. So we were really sure that we wanted to get married to each other. And that was nice because maybe we got lucky thinking, we are doubly sure now because we had that period to think about it. A lot of people don't have that luxury, man. Okay, Karan, we've been submitting some questions now saying agony aunt kind of section. Agony uncle doctor, Uncle Indy at your rescue.
Start Indy.
Right, the guy I'm talking to is taking ages to reply to me. Should I keep trying or is this a red flag?
Just got to call him out, man. I think maybe this is because I'm older. I say like that now. When people have communication type questions, I'm like, just don't live in mystery anymore. Have a real conversation. Meet the person in person if you can. Or,
what if this is pre-meeting someone in person though? I'd say, well, if they're not active, if they're not giving you good energy prior to the meetup, I'd be a bit worried about them meeting me in person with the same kind of thing. Like you're going to just come into this airy fairy thinking, oh, this is maybe an option.
But I'm not someone. My advice is always about don't live in regret. Don't have the what if. So in that scenario, it's even if it's like the first date might not be good, meet the person. Then you know for sure. Then it's not like, oh, our horse dog does it. Maybe it didn't.
What if you swiped and met and then 2 weeks? It takes 2 weeks to get them to communicate and then meet them up on a date. Personally, I'd be like, listen, you're not taking this seriously. This is a serious dating app. So why are you on here if you're not going to be?
If you want something casual,
potential, and you're not meeting the right energy.
Well, fair enough. But I guess the good thing about this is you can just you just message more than one person and have that thing, and don't be too hung up until you do meet somebody. But I'd say in hindsight, don't read into stuff too much. That's number one. But call people out. I'm not saying in an aggressive or mean way, but you want clarity. You want clarity early, because how that person responds to that question as well is a really good marker.
What kind of question would you propose?
So in that one, hey, this is a really, like you said, this is a really serious thing for me. I'm looking to meet somebody who has X, Y, Z. Are you of the same vein, or is this just a bit? I'm saying, like, I've just
if I got that message, I'm like, whoa,
spiel that.
Whoa.
As in words to those effect about, is this casual or are you being serious about it?
Yeah.
They might genuinely be busy, and that's what I'm saying. You don't have to read too much into it.
Yeah, they could be genuinely busy. Everyone's got their own career.
Yes.
I would say if it's a day, if it starts off strong and then it starts petering out, I'd say, okay, they're clearly not interested. And I'd say leave it. Or they're talking to somebody else. I'm not sure. I would say leave it and move on to the next person who's going to meet you with the same energy and that's ready for it.
Leave it without asking a question to kill it, or no?
I'd say I'm feeling like the energy's a little bit off here. Is everything cool? And if they say no, it's fine, I'd be like, okay, I'll give it a bit more time. If they give them the same energy again, I'd say, listen, this isn't working for me, and move on to the next person.
That's what I mean. So there has to be some closure.
I'd give them definite closure. Okay, next question. After initial days of conversation, they go silent. What should I do?
Yeah, so that's what it's like.
Ghosting to me.
Yeah, it's a ghosting. Is it a warning signal? Have I said something wrong? But then you can overthink that. Again, ask a question. A lot of this stuff is just if you keep thinking about it, you make it so big in your head and you play out all these different scenarios.
You're saying it's just communication?
Yeah, it is all. Obviously, it's all communications. If someone's not responding to you, and this does happen, then you ask a couple of questions. If they still ghost you, then you have to move on. That's it. Again, this is that.
Don't go beating yourself up either, man.
Yeah, that's one thing I say to a lot of people is when it's in here, you think it's end of the world scenario, you catastrophize, everything is wrong, it's my fault, I'm the victim, right? And we have to get away from that thing. There is the objective truth, but you are only seeing the negative angle, the aspect, okay? But so without clarity, and that's the whole value of asking the question and getting clarity.
Fair.
Yeah.
Fair.
Get to it as quickly as you can. Clarity is the most important thing.
Okay. I've been speaking to him for a while. However, he never asked any questions about me. Should I give up?
Right. So
Yes.
this is an interesting one. Well,
I'm just going to go on this.
go on.
Yes.
I got a
If
different
they're,
take.
if they're not emotionally mature enough to ask you a question about yourself, leave it. Because everybody should be in it to talk to somebody else about learning about them and their habits and behaviors. It shouldn't just be all about me, 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 me. It should be like, no, I want to give you space to speak about yourself and so that I can understand you better. That's emotional maturity. If they don't have that, it's probably not worth it.
Okay, my other take to that is there are a difference between introverted and extroverted people.
There
right?
are.
So there are some people who I think it takes a lot of courage even to go on the app,
Fine.
right? Number one. Then it takes a lot of courage to speak to somebody of the other sex. So I'm talking. Let's talk from a boy perspective. You're a shy boy trying to talk to a girl, and then you're trying to maintain conversation, and that doesn't come naturally to you. I think that could be perceived as he doesn't show interest, but actually, conversation may not come naturally or
But that's
confident to him.
that's speaking. Okay, if you're speaking to someone,
Are you talking about in person or app?
no, if you're speaking to somebody via a message, right? You're speaking to them. You've got to ask them opening questions for them to respond to you. I can't just be like, "Hey, how was your day?" or "Hey, my day was this." Blah, 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 bam, send. You got to ask leading questions for them to speak about themselves as well.
Absolutely.
Even if you are an introvert,
Yeah.
you can do that via a message, man. It's
Yeah,
not,
no, but I mean, there is a spectrum of people, and I think some people maybe they perform better when it's physical, in person. The way I see this, and if it is, even if I'm networking with somebody who's like a non-relationship based thing, is the only function of that is to get here. This is the real, right?
Yeah.
So I need to facilitate that to get to here, and then I'm going to make my judgment on whether this is like sparky or connection.
Yeah.
You do have there is some level of sparking connection when you're speaking and texting, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But ultimately, if there is doubt, you need to get to this quickly so you can assess is
Okay.
it there or not there. Yeah.
Okay, fine. The guy I'm seeing is
You see how they're all questions from girls.
Huh?
No guys asking questions because they don't ask. That's where good girls are
hey,
good.
fair enough, man.
No,
I'm
that's where
happy
girls
the
are good
doing
because
it.
girls will speak up and they'll
Yeah.
speak about it. Guys are just like, no, to you go.
I've been speaking to him for a while. However, he never asked questions about me. Should I give up? I've already gone to that.
Yep.
I think I think the guy I'm seeing is still speaking to other people. What should I do?
Yeah, I think it's the recognition this probably does happen in
Yeah.
this world, and I think that's okay because you've got to kind of put your fish out, your rod out a little bit, and to see because not everyone's going to bite, right? Again, just ask. Not these words, not are we exclusive, whatever, but are you speaking to other people?
I think the expectation for me would be if I've been on a few dates with someone
Dates, yes.
in person,
Yep.
I would expect
Yeah,
that
yeah.
there's this conversation that we're going to have, which is, okay,
Exclusivity.
I'm going to stop speaking to other people now because I really like you and I want to just focus all my attention on you.
Yeah, and if it was us, we'd be like, there was no one else I'm speaking to anyway.
Yeah.
You're
let's
the
be
only
honest.
person speaking to in the world.
Yeah, me and Goran are not going to have much success. We're not the we're not the
Player
best
types.
at that.
Yeah.
But okay, that's again an open conversation needs to be clear. I think it stipulates on how many dates you've been on. That I think is a very
Yeah,
fair
if it's very early days and you're
if it's
just
early
texting
days
and
like
stuff.
second date, first date, I'd still be listen. If you want to have that conversation at that point because you feel so strongly about it,
Yeah, if there's
please
a
go ahead.
spark. Yeah.
But you can't expect other people to not do that without drawing the parameters for both of you that is equal and fair.
Open, honest communication.
My parents don't approve of who I'm speaking to. How do I change their mind?
Time.
Really?
Yeah, that's all it takes.
Okay, tell me.
There's only two scenarios with parents. It's either going to come to you, I'm going to disown you, leave the house, I don't know you anymore, or it's okay, actually, yeah, he's not that bad, or she's not that bad, and we just overreacted, and we're using all these surrogate markers like caste, this, and this, and this, and actually, it's not really that important. So with parents, it's that acclimatization period. Okay, be the example. Don't fight with them. Ask them questions. Keep doing what you're doing. What I find that people kind of get wrong is when they rebel, they rebel in all the wrong ways.
Yeah, but that's exhausting, Karen.
What?
Having to go into that conversation. What if you have an unreasonable parent that will not allow you to even broach that topic? They'll just shut it down immediately.
Yeah, but then you like you said earlier, if you have that conviction, you're going to keep seeing that person. So at some point, they're like, okay,
They'll either get over it or they'll just stay staunch.
because
about
what's
being
more
bullied.
important? Then the priorities come in. Do I want to have a relationship with my grandchildren potentially down the line, or with my son and daughter, or do I just want to be bitter
Yeah.
until the end? I know people who've been bitter,
Yeah,
and it's taken a grandchild for them to come back,
that's crazy. man,
right?
when you think
So that
about
does happen, but generally, I'd say by and large. So what the point I was making is, if your a parent is being like that with you, still maintain everything in life. So don't stop doing your chores. You still maintain a respectful relationship with them. You still be that better person,
Yeah.
right? As well as maintain your relationship there. And I think with time, that attrition happens. That's what I would say. It takes time.
There is a fantastic example of this. I don't know if people watch dating shows, but Married at First Sight
You do.
Australia happened.
You watch
right?
all the dating shows, don't you?
Oh, mate, I love it. Me and my wife's favorite pastime is watching dating shows.
I'm thinking about
Married
you
at
could be
First Sight Australia. There's a Punjabi Kudi who went on it. She's in her mid-30s.
Okay.
And she went on it with her parents not approving, like
Right, okay,
heavily not
okay.
approving, to the point where they had a conversation with her and said they don't approve of it, and had a go at her off camera.
Right.
They wouldn't even allow the cameras in the house to display the conversation. That's how staunchly they felt about it. She gave up a lot to go on that show. It didn't work out with her and the Munda.
Right.
And she had to go home to her parents.
Okay.
And she hadn't told them for a while. And when she did, even though they gave her such a strong reaction, they took her back in. They accepted the stuff that had happened. Because at the end of the day, it's their daughter. They're going to accept that. There's obviously going to be some initial anger and feeling towards it. But when they come back and see their child's been hurt or they're upset, they will hopefully, if they're reasonable, come around and see the light. So if that's one example that you want to take any inspiration from, I think that's the best one that I can think that's come to mind that's a real world.
The word that comes to me is resilience. You have to keep resilience, and you have to ask the question, is this the person I want to spend my life with?
Yep.
Yeah.
I really like him, but he's not as religious as me.
Yeah, I don't think that's a problem.
You don't think that's a problem?
No. So there's a couple of takes on this. One is your Sikhi, your spirituality is a very personal thing. Your relationship with Rab is your relationship with Rab.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. That being said, when you have Nanda Karaj, if you believe in Nanda Karaj and the institution of Char Lavan, then actually is your journey together and getting to Rab. What I have found, so if you take me and Shindi as an example, Shindi is very much into Sikhi, but from a point where she wants to learn a lot. And this is how we met in Sikh Sock, like back in the day, whatever.
Okay.
So for me, it's
golden couple, man. Look at this meeting at Sikh Sock University.
I basically, she wanted to run for position. I wanted to impress her, so I ran for the position, got the position. That pissed her off. So it's a whole funny story.
You're so petty.
Well, no, just when you're trying to impress somebody, that's what you do.
That's not what beating someone out is not impressing. That's going to aggravate
Public
further.
speaking, right? And she's like, oh, he can speak really well. It's like, no.
That's what you think she
And
thought.
she got
Inside,
scared and
she
didn't
was
run.
thinking, oh my God, I don't want to deal with this Munda ever again.
Okay. But the whole religious, so the whole religious aspect thing, I think if you are setting a good example, if you'll say the religious person, I think the other person will take what they want to take from it. The point is, and I say this even if it's not your, say you and me, right? Okay. What I personally believe in the way I practice my Sikhi, I never impose on you. And I never wish that people impose it on anybody, even within your Rishta.
But I like how with me, I'm not massively religious, but you still drop a few things on me. And I'm like, you know what, that's actually really nice. Like, I like bits of that. I like bits of this. I can take that on for me.
Exactly. You take what you take. And again, it's the same in our relationship. You take what you take.
Yeah.
If there's more of an active interest, then you pursue it a bit more. But I don't think it's like oh no, this can't happen. Right. Unless the person who's religious has expectation and it's like, well, you can only get married if you do this, this, and this. And
or if they flip the script halfway through the marriage and they say expectation is I'm now Amadari, you can't have meat in the house, you can't have eggs in the house, then it's that's quite a massive change to imply on someone. But that's one for further down the line. I feel like if they are reasonable, you'll have an okay time with them and you'll be able to have that conversation maturely and openly.
Yeah.
I've said to my wife, there might be one day where I want to be religious, and she said, cool, you can do that, I'm going to do me. I said, perfect, that's all I need to hear. It's not going to cause a massive rift between me and you, but you can respect that I want to do that.
Imposition. There shouldn't be imposition. It just,
so
that's
if I go to my mum's and I stay there, in the morning I can hear my mum in the other room doing bad.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm used to that. It's not a big deal to Sanj, but she understands that that's what mum's doing. Mum isn't Amritari, but she's really into a Sikhi and bad, but she hasn't taken that step. So is that a level of religiousness you're okay with? Because she'll handle meat, she'll make meat for us and stuff. And we've got alcohol in the house. It just depends on where your parameters are drawn and open and where they close.
And again,
a common theme with a lot of these questions. Right, final question, the most contentious question ever. On the first date, it went well, but he asked to split the bill, so I didn't go for a second. Did I make a mistake?
Yes, you did.
Why did she make a mistake, Karen?
Always split the bill.
Why do you always split the bill, Karen?
I think there's no reason not to split the bill. You're meeting somebody, we're in a world now where both people are working and both people are equal and we're talking about gender equality and all this type of stuff. Why would you not split the bill? Chivalry is important, but I don't think the definition of chivalry is that you should buy everything for me.
But a big point of chivalrous behavior is opening the door, doing all that thing, doing all of that kind of behavior under that umbrella of chivalry. A big one is first date.
Chivalry, I think, is important. Yeah, no, I don't. Did I do this? I think I did do this. I think I did it for 9 months. But we're Punjabi, man. We did it for a long time.
No, I did it.
Yeah.
My brother did it.
Yeah.
Loads of guys do it. And I think there is an expectation that they will do it. But a subtle indicator to I don't want a second date is I will not pick up the bill or split it.
Yeah.
For me, I'm extreme. I would say, listen, prior to the date, I don't want to pay for the whole bill. I don't think it's fair. I think both of us should, because if we're in this together to want to meet each other, this is going to happen eventually. Let's split the bill off the bat. It doesn't mean I'm not interested in a second date. But there's no way to nicely say that without scaring someone
and
off.
to be honest, it's more of the signal, right? It's more like, even say you and me went for some food, right? If I'm going to pick up the bill, but you offer, you actually giving half doesn't really matter. It's the fact that you offered. I think it's the same. So although I did this, and I think some parts of chivalry are more important than other parts of chivalry. I think because paying, I think is quite an easy thing to do if you have means, right? But things like going out your way to be courteous and having good manners and the way you speak and treat somebody, opening the door and that kind of stuff, I think that takes a lot more effort than just pulling out your card.
Can you see how for a guy, if they are going to keep picking up the bill all the time, that becomes quite expensive quite quickly.
Yeah. No, I'm saying we did it. But what I'm saying is, and I know this because Chindi would always offer.
Which is nice.
Yeah, if she didn't offer, then I'm a bit like, okay, it's a bit of entitled behavior. But I think now, I don't know, my perception now would be that it should be equal and both parties would offer to do it. But not going on a second date because he didn't do it, I mean, that seems a bit harsh, man. If you don't like him anyway, then TK, that's fine. If that's your reason.
I think the sticking point for me there is if he indicated he wanted a second date and he picked up and you split the bill, that's fine.
That's fine, yeah.
That's okay. So maybe perhaps you did make a mistake in that situation.
Yeah, that's personal. That's a personal thing.
But guys do hear bad stories of some girls who just rinse guys for dates because they just want dinner. So there is that thing where like some guys are going to be like, no, I must split the bill because I've heard about this. But that's extreme examples. You can't treat every scenario to be exactly the same there. You've got to have some level of maturity about it. So thank you guys for listening. Please drop a comment beneath with these guys. And if you want to check us out, we are Indy and Dr, INDYANDDR on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, everywhere. Same @. Check us out. We'll see you guys there. Have a good time. In a bit.